they're not, and this is who you're going to battle with. We'll see if it's enough. The state of the West, Donnie.
Yeah.
I keep running this in the ground.
I mean, you can't.
It's a bear.
Yeah. Oh, we got Sam?
Sam.
All right. All guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands? River Islands in Lathrop. Joining us right now, Sam Amick, senior NBA writer for The Athletic. Sam, you've been writing great stuff during free agency and really appreciate you jumping on, man.
Thank you, Steiny. Thank you, Guru. How are you, gentlemen?
All right. We're doing well. I want to address just kind of you talked to Steph and you kind of, to me, we're the first guy to start asking him about what he's thinking about the future. What was your sense about where he thinks the Warriors are right now and how satisfied he is here and what he expects moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't even know, guys, if I don't think he has the answer to that question. It seemed to me that he was in, processing mode. Things have been moving quickly the past week or so. And admittedly, I enjoyed our conversation a lot, and I was hyper-focused on the Clay component because, to give quick context, we had done this small group media session at the Bellagio Hotel with probably 8 or 9 reporters where Steph took part in that. So he gets asked about Clay, but he just didn't say a lot. It was like one answer and somebody moves on to the next topic. Mm-hmm. I end up catching them in the hallway and to be honest, kind of being like, listen, I'm going to need to hear a little more about Clay because you guys have been through so much together. So we go down that road. But what did strike me for sure was there's a point, as you see in the conversation, where, he talks about how it's emotional because he's the first one of the three of us to go. And it didn't, and Steiny, this, it didn't, when you're sometimes doing an interview and stuff doesn't hit you the way it does later. Yeah. It wasn't really till later where I realized, oh boy, the way he framed that was he's the first and, to be determined if there are more to come. And those are some of the natural questions now. He obviously wants to contend for titles and is not looking to, like you said, kind of ride off into the sunset here. So I think they're just kind of navigating it at the moment.
Yeah, great stuff as always. And I got to tell you, Sam, Steph also said, things change in this league quickly. And that didn't sit well for me and Warrior fans. To put that out there, you could take that a whole lot of ways. My question to you, Sam, is you saw the Kings add DeMar DeRozan. I thought that was great. With the Warrior moves with Slow-Mo, Melton, and Buddy Hield, I'm worried. Where are you at? What are your thoughts on this Warrior team now is currently constructed coming off a season, Sam, with no playoffs?
They're an interesting team. I think they're, if you're handicapping things, this is not what Warriors fans want to hear. But everybody I talk to out here in Vegas is they're going to be a play-in territory team, pushing for a playoff spot in the mix, but not perceived as contenders. I like some of the pickups that they had. I think one thing that hasn't been talked about probably enough this summer that has, basketball ramifications, but also is related to the Clay stuff is that, Clay's departure was a kind of a combination of a million factors, right? But Brandon Pajemski's part in the Warriors program is extremely important. And he's obviously out here in Vegas right now as part of the select team, and just that idea that this young guy came along and was good enough, quickly enough, that I think he actually applied some pressure to Clay's situation and played a small part in the basketball dynamics there. And the point being, as far as how I feel about the team, is that, it's guys like Brandon that, and Trey Jackson-Davis, guys like that have got to get better. And then we'll see what they have. And then the new piece is trying to fit in. At this point, the only known commodities really are Steph and Draymond, and from there, it's going to be a chemistry test.
Sam Amick, senior writer from The Athletic, joining us on the River Islands guest line. Steph Curry is eligible on August 6th for an extension. It's going to be 3 years since he got the 5-year deal, which means he's eligible to get one more year in 26-27 for $63 million. What do you think he wants to do? I mean, I got to believe a guy at 36 who's got an opportunity to make 63 when he's 38, 39, wouldn't he just want to get extended?
I would imagine that would be the case. That's not a question that I asked him. But logically, Steiny, I would agree with you because it doesn't. I mean, he knows that because you're Steph Curry within this Warriors ecosystem, there's not that sense, I don't think, of, well, if I sign this, things fall apart and I don't want to be here, then I'm stuck. Like the Warriors, if that day does come, I think they would do right by him. Now, does he see it that way? I don't know. But you're right. It's a whole lot of cash for a guy that, that at that age would probably be well advised to grab it. But I don't know. I think, that timeline is going to kind of apply pressure here and make it interesting to watch because that's right around the corner.
Let me ask you a hypothetical, Sam, and that is this. Yep. If, right now Steph's got 2 years left, obviously the trading deadline, if something crazy were to happen, he'd have essentially a year and a quarter left with that team. Do you think he'd be any more or less valuable with 2+ years left on his deal in a trade as opposed to 1+ year remaining in a trade? Is he worth more as an asset one way or the other?
I mean, to me, at this level, I would say 2, because you're bringing Steph Curry to town, to really build something.
Right.
And the way that, the numbers keep skyrocketing within the league, that team that's getting him, I don't think is looking to have to negotiate a new deal at a steeper price a couple years down the road. He could thank LeBron to a small degree for this new reality where these all-time greats are just absolutely breaking the mold when it comes to playing elite basketball at a late age. And Steph looks like he's on track to do his own version of what LeBron is doing now. So, with all that in mind, I think the team coming to get him would want him for as long as possible.
Sam, I'm going to hit you with a doubleheader here. They tried for Paul George. They didn't get him. And there's conflicting reports if Kuminga was actually included in one of the packages. But talking about JK, his draft class is getting broken off. Cade Cunningham got 5 for $224. Barnes got paid. We saw Wagner. And he's eligible, JK, this summer for an extension. Where do you think the Warriors do that? What do you think's going on there?
I mean, given the way the pieces on the chessboard have shifted this summer, to me, it would be in the territory of yes, they should get something done. I don't know exactly how they see it, but, Clay's departure, the developments, things like that, I mean, all that does is make Kuminga more of a priority, obviously, unless you're going to do something like a Paul George deal where you end up having to give him up. But, that list of Warriors assets and things to be excited about is not as long as it was before, and Kuminga's part of that. So, if you're going to not get it done and have another player who's wondering, how you see him in the scope of your future, then that's probably not the direction you want to go.
Sam Amick joining us on the River Islands guest line. He's a senior NBA writer for The Athletic. Let me ask you this, Sam. What team, as of right now, since the end of the season in the West, do you think got better? And then give me a team that you think got worse.
Man, well, this is not like top of the list, but I'm kind of excited for the Spurs. It's nuanced stuff, you know what I mean? I mean, Chris Paul, if he can stay healthy, that's always the thing with Chris. But, them getting a few pieces, even Harrison Barnes, who it sounds like not a real sexy move, but you had a team that was full of guys that probably should be in the G League last year, and that obviously kind of put a ceiling on what Victor Wembanyama could accomplish collectively with that team. They're kind of inching along to be a team that should win more games and should be fun, and we'll see Vic kind of stage 2 of his career. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on who got better. I mean, as far as teams that went backwards, the Clippers thing is brutal. It's another second apron casualty that the Warriors can relate to when it comes to this new CBA life. They just didn't get better. And, I understand the logic behind what they did, but now you're going to have a pretty old James Harden with a not as old but always frail Kawhi Leonard and a culture, I think, that a lot of what happened with them this summer was a negative reflection of their inability to have, like a real substance culture-wise that guys wanted to be a part of. So that one I think was definitely on the downside.
Sam, we had a Warriors Summit at Fremont Bank yesterday. The fans were in the house, a great time. And the one thing all the hosts and the fans agreed upon was nobody knows what's going on with one Andrew Wiggins. And the facts are the facts. If this is the team and the roster, somebody needs to crack that code and get the 2022 Wiggins back. Do you think his value around the league is to the point to where nobody's sniffing?
Yeah, I think so. It's just life comes at you fast. Not even trying to be smart Alex, but it's like that's how it feels with Andrew. You had your window, and to his credit, he did a great job helping lead that team to that 2022 title. But it feels like that ship has sailed, and Andrew's always been such a good guy, but competitively and just professionally, he's not shown much in the last 18 months to convince anybody that there's a renaissance coming. Wow. So that sort of spirit, that's going to dampen the market quite a bit. As a side note, I went to Team Canada's practice last night here in Vegas, and obviously he's not a part of that group, which is a reflection of the Warriors really needing him to be healthy and how important he is. So maybe I'll be wrong. He did kind of prove a lot of people wrong a couple of years ago. But as far as the market goes, no, you're selling incredibly low on that front.
Real quick, Sam, before I let you go, can you shed any light on the Wiggins situation with Canada? Did he want to play? Did the Warriors say no to him? That would seem strange they can say no to Wiggins but not Curry. It's been kind of vague, and I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but I wonder if you could add any more info to that.
No, to be honest, Steiny, I'm not holding back anything there. I don't have clarity. The first thought would just be, Steph is Steph and Wiggins is Wiggins. So first of all, Steph's going to do whatever he wants to do, especially at this point when you're saying goodbye to some of his old buddies and things are uncertain. But it would make sense to me. It's a dance that every team has to do with its stars. Like, honestly, I think the Lakers probably would prefer that LeBron's not playing. I think the Clippers would probably prefer that Kawhi's not playing. But, those, again, are superstars. Andrew is not. And so I think the organization probably has a little more sway in that kind of situation.
Appreciate it. Hey, Sam, thank you so much as always. We're on top of everything you've written and you're going to write. I know you're down in Vegas. Thanks for your time, my man.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's Sam Amick, and all guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands, River Islands, in Lathrop?